Exodus chapter 14. He Exists spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, that they turn and encamp before Pi-hahiroth between Migdol and the sea over against Baal-zephon. Before it will you encamp by the sea. Pharaoh will say of the children of Israel, They are entangled in the land, the wilderness has shut them in. I will harden Pharaoh's inner thinking center, that he will follow after them, and I will be honored upon Pharaoh and upon all his army, that the Egyptians may know that I am He Exists. And they did. So it was told the king ruler of Egypt that the people group fled, and the inner thinking center of Pharaoh and of his servant workers was turned against the people group. And they said, Why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? He made ready his chariot and took his people group with him. He took 600 chosen chariots and all the chariots at Egypt and rulers over every one of them. He Exists hardened the inner thinking center of Pharaoh, king ruler of Egypt, and he pursued after the children of Israel, and the children of Israel went out with a high hand. The Egyptians pursued after them all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh and his horsemen and his army, and overtook them encamping by the sea beside Pi-hahiroth before Baal-zephon. When Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes and looked. The Egyptians marched after them, and they were very afraid. And the children of Israel cried out, He Exists. They said to Moses, Because there were no graves in Egypt, have you taken us away to die in the wilderness? Why have you dealt thus with us to carry us forth out of Egypt? Is not this the word that we told you in Egypt, saying, Let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? Because it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. Moses said to the people group, Do not fear, stand still and see the rescue of He Exists, which He will show to you today. Because the Egyptians whom you have seen today, you will see them again no more forever. He Exists will fight for you, and you will hold your peace. He Exists said to Moses, Why cry you to me? Speak to the children of Israel that they go forward, but lift up your rod and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it, and the children of Israel will go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. I will harden the inner thinking centers of the Egyptians, and they will follow them, and I will get honor upon Pharaoh, and upon all his army, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. The Egyptians will know that I am He Exists when I have gotten honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. The messenger of the supreme authority, mighty Creator, which went before the camp of Israel, moved and went behind them, and the pillar of a cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. It came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel, and it was a cloud and darkness to them. But it gave light by night to these, so that the one did not come near the other all the night. Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and He Exists caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. The children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall to them on their right hand and on their left. The Egyptians pursued and went in after them to the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. It happened in the morning watch that He Exists looked to the army of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and of the cloud, and troubled the army of the Egyptians. He took off their chariot wheels, that they drove them heavily, so that the Egyptians said, Let us flee from the face of Israel, because He Exists fights for them against the Egyptians. He Exists said to Moses, Stretch out your hand over the sea, that the waters may come again upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots, and upon their horsemen. Moses stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to his strength. When the morning appeared, and the Egyptians fled against it, and he exists, overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea, the waters returned, and covered the chariots, and the horsemen, and all the army of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. There remained not so much as one of them. But the children of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall to them on their right hand and on their left. Thus he exists, saved Israel the day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. Israel saw that great work which he exists did upon the Egyptians, and the people group feared he exists and believed he exists, and his servant worker Moses